Good evening. The school board, we will move to the school board general business meeting this evening. I call to order the December 2nd, 2025 general business meeting of the Harrisburg City School District Board of School Directors. If we can please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Madam Secretary, I will now move to the roll call. So if you can please call the roll.
Thank you. Yes. Ms. Copeland,
Present.
Ms. Anderson,
Present.
Mr. Carter,
Present.
Ms. Hughes,
Present.
Ms. Johnson,
Present.
Ms. Radcliffe,
Present.
Ms. Robinson,
Here.
Mr. Roy,
Here.
Mr. Thompson Leader,
Present.
Dr. Susky. Present. We have a quorum.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. We will now move to the approval of the minutes in the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the November 25th, 2025 School Board General Business Meeting?
So moved, Robinson.
Second, Ellis Roy.
Thank you. The motion has been moved and seconded. Madam Secretary, can I have a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Ms. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Carter,
Yes.
Ms. Copeland,
Yes.
Ms. Hughes,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Radcliffe,
Yes.
Ms. Robinson,
Yes.
Mr. Roy,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson Leader.
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no, 0 abstain.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Here, a majority of the yeses, so that motion will carry. Now we'll move to our minutes. May I have a motion to approve the agenda for the December 2nd, 2025 School Board General Business Meeting as presented in board docs?
So moved, Robinson.
Is there a second?
Second, Johnson.
Thank you. The motion has been moved and seconded. Madam Secretary, can I have a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Ms. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Carter,
Yes.
Ms. Copeland,
Yes.
Ms. Hughes,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Radcliffe,
Yes.
Ms. Robinson,
Yes.
Mr. Roy, Mr. Thompson Leader.
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no, 0 abstain.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Here, a majority of yeses, so that motion will carry. We will now move to the presentations for this evening. Dr. Henry, do we have any presentations?
Yes, we do have one presentation tonight. Dr. Marsha Stowe will be presenting our 2025-2026 amended budget.
Good evening, everyone. Here I am again presenting an amended budget. This has become a habit because of the delay in the Commonwealth adopting their budget. But I am very pleased to present this budget for an amendment. We are receiving additional funds from the Commonwealth. So we're going to go through at a high level all of our changes in revenues and the change of expenditures. This is really as a result of the state's delay or their budget impasse, resulting in the budget approval of November 12th, 2025, it giving us 30 days to perform an amendment related to our additional and changes in revenues. So this evening, we're going to go through what allows us, what's a budget amendment process, what allows us to do it this evening. We're going to look at our anticipated revenue updates as well as our budgeted expenditure updates, and then some additional potential changes because not everything was wrapped up on November 12th. There's still some information that needs to be worked out in school code and some allocations that need to be derived for each individual district. So over the past few years that I've been doing this budget amendment, we've been doing it under the ability to reopen our budget under receivership. But now that we have exited receivership, we are back under the school code section that requires us to perform any reopening or amended budget process within 30 days of basically the enacted budget happening. So we would only have until November 12th to be able to do that. And that's what brings us to this evening, is to basically recognize the state subsidies that we were estimating at the time we approved the budget in June. And because we are so heavily reliant on state aid, it's for transparency purposes more than anything that we acknowledge these additional sources of revenue and make the appropriate adjustments in our budget. So I'm going to start on the revenue side, which is really the trigger of us reopening our budget, and wanted to go through all of the changes that we have received, additional information on since we first adopted our budget back in June. The very first one that I want to highlight sits at the very top. And I know that I've said this, and I want to just make sure that all of our public realizes the impact that this budget impasse has had on this school district. And that's one of our local revenue sources, which is our interest earnings. So when we receive money timely from the Commonwealth, we're able to put that into our accounts and be able to earn interest on that money. Because we were delayed multiple months with over $50 million worth of state subsidy that we did not get timely, you can see that I'm actually decreasing that line in the budget by over $400,000. This year funds, we'll never see it again. We got the money rolling in now, but we didn't have it in August. We didn't have it in September. We didn't have it in October, and we didn't have it in November. So that is definitely money we will never be able to recoup. Other things on there, we know that last month we just approved the IDEA allocations. IDEA is for our special needs students, federal dollars that flow through the state, through the CAIU, and to us. And those allocations came in lower than what we originally were anticipating. We did a very good job at anticipating our basic education funding. Out of over $88 million, there's only a difference of $79,000 between what we estimated and what we're actually receiving. The next one on there is related to special education, and this is the special education subsidy we would get from the Commonwealth. And you can see that this one we are getting $150,000, give or take, less than what we anticipated. Other things that are on there is they did increase the per student amount that we receive for our pre-K grant. So there's a slight increase on that. We have a PA boost grant that we receive. So we are recognizing that $75,000 for that. And then we get into our areas of our bigger changes. And this really has to do with the adequacy supplement. So as we know, we are one of the underfunded districts, and out of a result of the fair funding lawsuit, there was a proposal to get those underfunded districts their funding back up through an adequacy supplement. And we had originally budgeted 50% of what the governor's budget had for adequacy. And so what this is recognizing is that other 50%. So basically the Commonwealth budget that was enacted mirrored the governor's budget proposal when it came to the Ready to Learn and the adequacy dollars. So we are getting $7.4 million this year. That is our adequacy supplement to represent our portion of the underfunding for this year. The nice thing with this is that $7.4 million will now be added into our foundation, our Ready to Learn Foundation money, so that stays with us into the future. And then what is anticipated at this point in time, which we will obviously see as the governor releases his budget here in a couple months, is are they going to continue funding that adequacy that was supposed to be projected over a 7 to 9 year period? If so, we would expect another 7.4, give or take, million dollars in 26, 27. Other things that I want to acknowledge here are things related to federal funding. So we know that this year's federal funding was delayed. There was a lot going on in Washington, still is a lot going on in Washington, and that definitely impacted some of our allocations. And the board accepted these grants back in the fall. But one of the things I want to point out is related to Title I, and that's specifically related to our CSI schools. So even though we have more schools designated this year under CSI, we are actually receiving less funds for those schools. So you'll see that decrease of that $208,000. So in the end, when you look at everything, we are basically amending our budget to be $3.2 million more than what we anticipated and approved in June. And this is really due significantly by that adequacy supplement, that $3.7 million that we are receiving. So attached to the agenda, you're going to see an updated PDE 2028, and that's our official form that we do for the budget. And so what this is showing is all the changes that we are updating on the expenditure side of the budget to match the $3.2 million. The one thing that we were pretty sure of as an administrative team is that we'd be here tonight at some point in time amending our budget. And so as an administrative and cabinet team, we've been identifying expenditures that perhaps were not known at the time. Maybe things have changed, and we have been keeping an ongoing list of those, understanding that if additional funds came through, that we would be able to consider those later in the year. I do want to point out one of the biggest changes, and you're going to see those big changes related to that 1100 and 1200 function code at the top, are the changes to the special education and regular education cyber charter school tuition rates. So what this budget is actually reflecting is an estimate of a $4.2 million decrease compared to what I anticipated in June related to cyber charter tuition. I will say that is an estimate because as of today, PDE still has not released the updated 363 form with exactly all of the school code changes that are outlined in that. So I'm using the best estimate I have based on our actual numbers and the interpretation of what the school code bill is. But I do want to say that there is a significant impact to this district as a result of those school code changes related to cyber charter school tuition. I do want to highlight some of the changes because I think sometimes it's hard to dig through the numbers and actually see what is things that we are modifying our budget. So the first thing is we know that we've had some unexpected and unplanned events happening at our Scott School, including a water main break and some major transformer and electrical issues. So those all repair costs that are not covered by insurance have been added in here. We've also had requests from our building leaders for additional security upgrades, including door releases, card readers, security grills for restrooms, 5 additional restrooms at John Harris. Earlier this year, we approved driver increases for our bus drivers. So we are incorporating that in along with an additional run at Camp Curtin to make sure we don't have overcrowding on our buses, and we've implemented that. We also have students enrolled in dual enrollment courses that we provide CAT passes for, so we've incorporated those expenses in. As I stated, one of our biggest changes is related to our cyber charter school tuition rates. So those savings, I hate to use the word savings, but those decreases have been reflected. In addition, we've identified some PD and some training initiatives, one of them related to restorative practices, specifically at John Harris and Camp Curtin, and other one related to scheduling through Power School. In addition, we know that we are working on launching our own CTE programs at John Harris with our revamp of our School of Business and Industry going first, as well as next up is the kind of the cybersecurity networking, the IT side. So wanted to have some additional funds in there to get all of that ready for the first launch of next year and the planning involved in next year for the second program. In addition, there's been some classroom supplies, some tables for kindergarten at Melrose, some pre-K supplies with the additional money. We've had changes in our CSI supplies that we're able to buy, and we just approved the Imagine Learning resources at our last meeting. In addition, we've had some facility upgrades besides the ones that were on plan that we'd like to perform. One of them is LED lights in John Harris in the hallways, fencing around the Scott School. Looking at replacing the auditorium screen at John Harris that has been torn, upgrading carpet in a few of our places that have been worn, and then the tree trimming that we have district-wide that was approved last month. In addition, there's some personnel updates, some teaching positions. So we know that we've added a social studies long-term sub position at John Harris. We've had an additional math teacher at SciTech. We've had to change the number of meetings and the number of people that we are able to cover under the CSI grant due to the reductions of that. We've had some staff members receive supplementals that we need to adjust for. And then we've had some changes in our contracted staff as well. So that's everything we kind of know as of today. However, I said this isn't everything that has been part of the governor's budget because there's things that we still haven't received our exact allocation or perhaps the exact information to calculate. One of them is that once again, we are expecting the application for the public school facilities grant to be reopened. But we don't know exactly, obviously a competitive process, how much we would get, but we are actively working. Mr. Reedy is identifying mainly roofs that we can apply using that funds. We did receive $500,000 in the last round for HVAC upgrades at Ben Franklin. In addition, we know that the PCCD safety grants related to physical security and mental health are coming back again. But once again, we don't have our exact allocation. However, we do have funding built into the budget so that hopefully not only do we get the meritorious ones, but we can also have a competitive application there. And then in addition, we don't know the exact interpretation of how the PDE 363 form, which is what calculates our charter school tuition, is truly going to be interpreted and impacted. So we could see additional savings as a result of those calculations, but we have to take a conservative approach as of today. So we're still awaiting that guidance to be released from PDE. And with that, that kind of concludes all of the changes made to the existing budget. We're full swing into the 26-27 budget development. But at this point in time, I'll open the floor to the board having any questions on the amended budget.
So I just have a quick question. As you guys are aware, we had a town hall meeting that consisted of the Harrisburg School Board and also City Council. And one question that did come up for the school board was the PA boost grant. And an individual said that the grant was for $250,000. So was it originally $250,000 when we applied, or was it originally the $75,000?
So there's two versions of the boost grant that we received. So the first allocation was related to summer school programming, and that was split over 2 years, and that was a larger amount. So we did the boost summer program at Marshall Math Science this past summer, and then have the second round of that for this summer. Then there was an additional grant for $75,000 that is going to be related to the Rally app. So getting staff trained related to the implementation and the use of that Rally app. And that's the $75,000, that second kind of spot of funding that we didn't have. The other boost grant has already been incorporated into the budget and exists on what was approved in June.
And what was the actual amount for the first one? I'm sorry.
I believe it was $150,000, but I can double check that when I get back to my seat.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, can you explain STOP grant and what that is being used for?
Sure. So the STOP grant is a grant that we received from the Department of Justice about 3 years ago today. And that STOP grant was written with a focus on mental health supports related to our students. So we have currently in that grant the MTSS supervisor position. And that is the $140,000 or so that has been added because we had originally filled that position up to any changes that are made as a result of a vote tonight, but we'll be reposting that. So that's, and the other parts of the grant were related to our MTSS leads that are district positions. And we also have some behavioral supports that were written into that grant that at this point in time, we have not been successful at filling those positions. You're welcome.
But not so much a question, but thank you, Dr. Stokes, for this right here. This presentation actually makes me a little happy. And my second thing to say was, I'm not sure what impact this board or the members of this board had on getting that cyber charter decrease, because I know a lot of us went and advocated at the Capitol through PSBA. So just to say, I don't know what our impact was, but thank you for actually participating in that, because you never know. Us advocating may have been a part of this impact and that decrease. So, and that we were advocating hard the decrease in the cyber charter funding. So thank you to members of this board and for your advocacy, and thank you, Dr. Stokes, for bringing us some good news.
Absolutely.
Well, again, thank you, Dr. Stokes, for providing the updates. And we will now move to our new business for this evening. Oh, well, excuse me, the public comment. This is the public comment period.
We have no public comments.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. So now we'll move to the new business. So do I have a motion to approve the 2025-2026 amended budget as an immediate action item?
So moved, Johnson.
Thank you. The motion has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? So hearing no further discussion on the motion, Madam Secretary, can I have a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Copeland?
Yes.
Ms. Hughes? Yes. Ms. Johnson?
Yes.
Ms. Radcliffe?
Yes.
Ms. Robinson?
Yes.
Mr. Roy?
Yes.
Mr. Thompson Leader?
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no, 0 abstain.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Here a majority of the yeses, so that motion will carry. Dr. Henry, next item.
The administration recommend approval of the waiver of expulsion hearing agreement for the following student as an immediate action item.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the waiver of expulsion hearing agreement as an immediate action item?
So moved, Robinson.
Second, Roy.
The motion has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Yes, I just have not so much of a discussion, just like a slight comment. To be perfectly honest, which was kind of hard approving a lot of these expulsions, and it's not, I don't withhold them from doing whatever they done, but in the same sense, I just arguably think that we just need to give these kids some things to get involved in, some type of program or something instead of just keep it expulsion. I mean, just keep it expelling them. So it's kind of hard for me to agree with it because I believe we can offer them more.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. Is there any further discussion
Um,
on the motion? Ms. Robinson?
Well, I do agree with Mr. Carter that we do need to get our children involved in different things. But I think when we're talking about this right here, the waiver of expulsion hearing agreement, this is an agreement that was between, if I'm not mistaken, the parents, the administration to make sure that child has their rights respected, for lack of a better term. And remember that when we're talking about expulsion for our students, it's a little different than some school districts, because when our students are expelled, they're not thrown out into the streets. They're actually moved to a different location, given the tools that they need, given the counseling, and still continuing their education. And then given the ability to come back. There are some districts there where you get expelled and you're going for, the parents have 30 days to find placement for you. So this right here is just meaning that the parents and the administration have agreed on the process that needs to be done in order to get this child the help that they need. But I do agree with Mr. Carter. We do need to have more things in place for our students, but thank you.
And just one more thing, just to add on to what Ms. Robinson said, it's just more so of, we just want to be more proactive instead of being reactive till we get to the point of the waiver hearings and stuff like that. It's just more so of us trying to be proactive instead of being reactive.
I agree.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Carter and Ms. Robinson. And I also would just add and agree to that, and keeping in mind that these children, they do come back to our district. So we're not just putting them straight out, as Ms. Robinson adding on. So thank you for that. And the hope is to see, especially with the budget passing, again, with the feedback of the community, to see more programs that we can do in school and support in that area. So just wanted to add that comment, and hearing no further discussion. So Madam Secretary, can I have a roll call vote, please?
Ms. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Carter?
Yes.
Ms. Copeland,
Yes.
Ms. Hughes,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Radcliffe,
Yes.
Ms. Robinson,
Yes.
Mr. Roy,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson Leader,
Yes.
9 yes, 0 no, 0 abstain.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Here, a majority of yeses, so that motion will carry. Dr. Henry, next item.
The administration has recommended approval of the following immediate action item, a personnel item, agenda item. Number one, recommend approval of the attached December 2nd, 2025 personnel agenda. And B, the contract employment, recommend approval of the contract employment of the acting principal for Roma Benjamin effective December 3rd, 2025 at a salary of $138,000 prorated.
May I recommend that we do these as two separate items, as two separate motions?
Sure.
Is
So,
Mr. Sultanic on the line? Could you weigh in on that, please?
What, to separate the items? You can.
Do they have to vote on the separation, or is it okay just to move forward with it at the request of a member?
It is okay to separate it
Yeah.
at the discretion of the board president to separate the two action items.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sultanic. So do I have a motion to approve the December 2nd, 2025 personnel agenda item as an immediate action item?
So move, Johnson.
Second Hughes.
The motion has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion? Ms. Anderson?
Thank you. Since they're sort of similar, I'm just going to make my comment now. So I did just want to be clear with the process for this personnel item. So as I understand it, the person who's moving into this role, this is an acting role to carry out the duties of the principal for the rest of the year. During that time, though, we will also be conducting a national search for a principal. Is that correct? So
Yeah.
this is not a permanent role for them. They're moving into this role. We need someone to fill the position. They're acting in this role.
Yes, we will be starting our principal search for John Harris in February. And we will go through the process of trying to find the next leader for John Harris High School. This person will be serving in the acting role during that time while we're doing the interviews and going through the whole process of trying to find a new leader.
Okay, great. And then to confirm, is part of what we're doing with this process because we want to have a little bit more time to find and go through the process of like finding a more permanent person for this role versus moving someone in immediately, which is
Yeah.
why she's going to be acting. Is that
Yes,
correct?
we wanted to take our time to try to thoroughly flush out this. Hopefully we can find someone for it to be the next leaders. And so we wanted to kind of advertise this on a national level for a few weeks to see if we could get someone interested in applying for this position.
Okay, thank you. And I think Dr. Seski or Ms. Robinson, maybe you would be able to weigh in on this, but PSBA could also be a resource during this process. Is that correct?
Correct, as can the Pennsylvania Principals Association.
Okay, thank you.
And our goal is to post on all of those websites as well, and also some national websites to try to see if we get someone interested in the position.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Is there any further discussion? And my only discussion towards it is, it's actually regarding the determination of the position for the MTSS. I know it's a position that is granted. However, we are aware that the MTSS monitors our academics, behaviors, and social and emotion. So do we have any updates on who would be, like, would this just end this position, or who would be actually taking on the additional?
We're going to be posting that job as well, to see if anyone interested in applying for that position. Being it as a grant position, that grant ends at the end of this year. So we will try to see if we could get someone interested in applying for that position.
So nobody at this time will actually just be taking over.
No, we have, right now, we have split up some of the duties of that position in the Office of Academics. So they will be supporting some of the work with MTSS, as well as some of the work that's been done in the Office of Student Services as well.
Okay. And I know, like I said, it's a transition. So will we be able to have like an update, beside, where we're at with that? What information has been provided thus far in that position to really have some follow-up
Yeah.
there? Okay, great. All right. So is there any further discussion? Hearing no further discussion, Madam Secretary, can I have a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Ms. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Carter,
Yes.
Ms. Copeland,
Yes.
Ms. Hughes,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Radcliffe,
Yes.
Ms. Robinson,
No.
Mr. Roy, Mr. Thompson Leader,
Yes.
8 yes, 1 no, 0 abstain.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Hearing a majority of yeses, so that motion will carry for approval. And we will now move to the contract for the agreement. So do I have a motion to approve the December 2nd, 2025 contract of employment as the acting principal agreement as an immediate action item?
So move, Johnson.
Is there a second? Thank you. The motion has been properly moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on the motion?
Yes, there is a discussion. So in regards to if this gets approved tonight to have Roma Benjamin as the principal at John Harris, will we be able to have like quarterly updates about how her performance has been at John Harris? Because we have it's been a little rough up there.
Yes. Yes, no problem. I will continue to provide an update to the board on what's going on at John Harris.
Okay, and also what will be incorporated in that quarterly update? Would it be incorporated so we can actually see how effective she's been?
Well, we could talk about what you all would like to see in that report, and then we can add it to it.
Okay, yep, no problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. Is there any further?
Yes,
Discussion.
Madam President.
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Roy.
This is mainly for Dr. Henry, also at John Harris. Dr. Thompson will be there, right?
No,
Dr. Henry?
I didn't hear you.
But Dr. Thompson will also be there.
Yes, sir. Dr. Thompson and Dr. Craig also will be supporting the high school as well.
Oh, I didn't know Dr. Craig is. That's good. Good.
Thank you, Mr. Roy. Is there any further discussion?
One more question too. In regards to putting Roma Benjamin at John Harris, how will she be accommodated to run the school? Now, we are all aware that our previous principal had made certain sentiments saying that he needed help. So what would that help look like in regards to her making John Harris function?
Well, Dr. Thompson met with Dr. Benjamin on last week to outline some needs that she's requesting. So we're going to meet with her to see what needs she's requesting, if we can meet those needs.
Okay. And I know you said that if we can meet those needs, however, if we can't meet those needs and she feel as though she won't be able to run that school appropriately, what will the next steps be?
Well, we're not able to meet the need. We're going to have to find a compromise. We will try to, one of the things that I've said before is that we want John Harris to be successful. And so we will provide the resources that school needs in order for it to be successful. But we will have to make some tough decisions as a board on what that looked like. Okay. So I would challenge this board to understand that in the coming weeks, we will have to have some tough conversation around safety at the high school and what does that look like and what we're comfortable with moving forward with around safety at the high school.
Thank you too. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Carter. Ms. Anderson?
Just wanted to respond to that item. Again, at the community meeting last night, that came up, the topic of safety. So I do think that it's time for us to revisit that and start building out a plan of what the safety and security looks like. And the sooner we can do that, the better. Thanks.
I had a conversation with our board president, and she brought that to my attention. And one of the things I mentioned to her last night is, that's one of the things that I spoke about when I first got here. So having this conversation is something I do want to have. And so we could build out what a plan looked like at John Harris, but more or less for the school district as a whole. Because again, this is something that we do understand that if kids do not feel safe, it's hard for them to learn. And so we do have to take safety serious and how are we going to approach safety as a school district.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. Ms. Johnson?
Yeah, I looked into feedback from the community, which was very positive for Roma Benjamin in the acting principal position. So I just want to congratulate and welcome her in advance. Thank you.
Sorry.
Yes,
Just-
thank you, Ms. Johnson. Ms. Anderson?
I just wanted to clarify, Miss Benjamin is also eligible to apply for the principal role, correct, during the search, the national search,
Yes.
if she chooses to? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Anderson. And I was going to ask that, so thank you for that, because I was saying, especially for our children and what we have seen in the past, a lot of turnover, so we need a strong individual and, give them that opportunity. So again, congratulations, and we're hoping to continue to keep a good report and really support our leaders, because that is one thing that I think it's really important that we all got to keep in mind, that support is really helps us to continue. So that is my spiel for this evening. So hearing no further discussion on the motion, Madam Secretary, can I have a roll call vote, please?
Ms. Anderson,
Yes.
Mr. Carter,
Yes.
Ms. Copeland,
Yes.
Ms. Hughes,
Yes.
Ms. Johnson,
Yes.
Ms. Radcliffe,
Yes.
Ms. Robinson,
No.
Mr. Roy,
Yes.
Mr. Thompson Leader,
Yes.
8 yes, 1 no, 0 abstain.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Here, a majority of yeses, so that motion will carry for approval. And we will now move to the public comment for general items. Madam Secretary, do we have any public comments on non-agenda items this evening?
We do not.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. We are now ready to adjourn the meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved, Robinson.
Second, Roy.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Meeting is adjourned.